All right, so I'm with Patrick Ryan Williams, and he went by a different name, I think, when I first knew him, or he had an alias for some reason. But we met in 2013 or 14 because I got Titans in Hollywood got evicted in August of 2013, and somehow I met Patrick, I think, during the 6 month period before I reopened downtown because he really encouraged me to open again. And he was there for the very beginning of the early days of downtown LA. But I'm hazy on a lot of this, so we're going to get to the bottom of it. So, how did we meet again? It was, I think, because of Facebook. I posted on some group about narcolepsy and you responded.
So initially, and I believe this was at the end of 2011 or early 2012, actually. I saw this LA Times or LA Weekly article about this guy doing a comedy sketch called "Asleep at the Wheel," and that was you. And it mentioned, the fact that you're narcoleptic, and I had just moved to LA practically, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And myself suffering from narcolepsy, I was like, well, I would love to just give this guy a shout and say, hey, like, good job for, representing the narcs out here,
Yeah.
So, and then I hit you up on Facebook, and we ended up meeting up in Hollywood to just like talk and pretty much just hang out.
Yeah. Well, so were you around the Hollywood studio? I forget, because we had a studio at Hollywood in Cahuenga. Me and two guys named Jake Belcher and Brent Thoman ran it.
I wasn't around then. I think you were in Altadena at the time. That was like the first. You guys were running your station out of Altadena, I believe.
No, I don't think so. I mean, depends what year are we talking about? Do you remember?
I think it was the year. So I think it was 2012 and 2013 when.
Yeah, we were in Hollywood in 2013 to 14. Or no, 2012 to 2013, we were in Hollywood, June 2012 to August 2013.
Okay. Because I remember being when we had the LA building. Or was weird. I don't remember you guys being in Hollywood. Okay. I'm not sure I ever came to the studio.
Okay. Well, yeah. Basically we were hanging out, and you were heavily involved in the first couple weeks to a month or two downtown. And I forget exactly why you were hooked in with us. But I just remember you were always enthusiastic and we loved having you around. I just can't remember exactly why.
You and Jake kind of came to me and said, hey, you want to be the third partner in this and help us get this off the ground. And at the time I had a pretty decent amount of free time where, I could come down to LA and help record or post, stuff onto the, podcast onto the new Radio Titan site. You guys just, basically came at me like, basically as a business partner, and we I got on board and did as much as I could with the time I had, because I believe I was still finishing school at the time.
Yeah. Okay. So then were you there for the opening night party when we threw the wild party?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Paint the picture for people if you have any memories of that.
It was funny because I remember thinking, when it was being planned, like I wasn't sure what the turnout would be like, but I knew that, your pajama parties and all these other events that you had done in the past had pretty good attendance. So it was really neat when people started showing up, because it was probably one of the most diverse groups of people I've ever seen. I remember just, seeing a lot of people in a lot of really different style clothing, and every ethnicity, every hairstyle. Like it was just a melting pot that night. And it was funny because everyone else on that floor, I believe had been closed already, because it's by 7 everybody was out. So it was like, well, we don't have to worry about any noise complaints really. So I remember enjoying the all the live acts and the music stuff that we had that evening. And I remember enjoying a few drinks as well. That was the fun part. But I met quite a few people that evening, mostly musicians actually that had been there, that had been previous guests and other people affiliated with Radio Titans and your stuff prior to.
Yeah. Okay. So, did you were you ever around during a work week, like when things had to be? We were in the middle of office suites where there were lawyers and insurance people and stuff like that. Did you ever get that corporate creep, the corporate vibe during the week, and like notice how we stood out from that?
During business hours, you could definitely tell.
Were you ever there during 9 to 5?
Rarely, but when I was, it was always funny because I was coming in my street clothes and I'd get on the elevator, a private elevator. You can't even use the elevator unless the guard like swiped his key until I got one. And it was funny, I'm riding up the elevator with all these people in suits and nice clothes and very, very corporate types. So it was kind of funny knowing that, Radio Titans was among this whole corporate environment. But you could definitely tell during the day. At night, it seemed pretty quiet after 5, mostly.
Uh-huh. Well, so then I forget, why did you wind up falling out from us? Like not being around, I forget.
I think it was I think it became an issue with a job that I took.
Okay.
And it was just starting to get difficult because I was living in Ventura County for a little while, and it just the distance became an issue, and also other like work responsibilities. So
okay, so yeah. So any other thoughts about your memories from being around us and being around the start of that?
It was just a good time in general. Everybody I met through Radio Titans, everyone was really very accepting and very open, and it was really interesting to see so many different people with different political ideologies. I remember one of the first guests you had was a very conservative like talk radio guy, and it was just interesting to see people discussing things like adults. And it was I worked a lot with Rachel Odo initially to help get stuff moving at the office, and that was a lot of fun, just kind of seeing how things get lifted off the ground. And when we initially set up the room and put in the Radio Titans poster, just sort of like creating that environment was a lot of fun. It was just a good time in general. I'm trying to remember the guy who was always around as well. He tall, sort of like wide set black guy, super funny.
Walton Jordan.
Well, yes. Oh man, yeah, I had a really good time with him. He was so funny. But it was just an all-around good time. I really didn't want to step away from the radio station, but again, work stuff and traveling there made it a little difficult. But it was a good time with a lot of great people.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's all I need, but hang on, I'm just gonna hit